Hello everyone and welcome back to Whispers of Turkish Stars. I hope you are taking a deep breath before this one, because the date we are about to revisit is already stamped in bold across the minds of fans everywhere. January 8, 2026. A day that landed like thunder over the Turkish entertainment universe and rippled far beyond. You saw the headlines, you felt the tremor. Today we break down the news that left so many stunned, the reactions that followed, the storm of speculation, and what it could mean for two of television's most adored faces. Settle in, because once we start, there is no looking away. January 8, 2026, began like any other midweek morning. Then a few lines in a carefully worded press note changed everything. The names at the center of it all were Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel. If for some reason those names are unfamiliar to you, let me paint the picture. Yağmur Yüksel, beloved for her grace and intensity, has a way of drawing viewers into every close-up, commanding the screen with a calm fierceness that turns roles into events. And Barış Baktaş, with a presence that can swing from gentle to steely in a heartbeat, is one of those actors whose gaze tells a story even before the dialogue begins. Together, their magnetism is no secret. On set, at galas, in interviews, the air around them always seemed a little brighter, a little sharper, a little more electric. That is precisely why the announcement felt so unreal. The news was simple in content and overwhelming in effect. After a relationship many considered not only serious but destined, Barış and Yağmur chose to part. The words were restrained, almost tender in their formality, saying what needed to be said and leaving the rest unsaid. And yet everyone could hear the undertone. This is the end of a chapter. This is goodbye for now. For months, their interviews had reflected a soft harmony. They spoke about trust, about learning, about carving out moments together in a schedule that treats time like a luxury. They had been seen at select events, often arriving separately out of professional respect, but somehow always finding one another in the crowd, meeting in the middle of a photograph with that nonchalant ease that only genuine comfort can create. There were stories about future plans whispered in green rooms and hinted at by gleaming smiles. Fans traded hopeful comments, assembling an imagined timeline that felt as inevitable as sunrise. Which is why this turn felt like a sudden winter wind cutting across a warm evening. Let us be precise about what is known. The statement came from their representatives. It confirmed that the decision was mutual. It emphasized that there were no third parties, no betrayal, no anger spilling over into the public square. It emphasized respect. Pain, yes, by implication, because endings carry it like a shadow, but also maturity. They reached a point, it said between the lines, where private growth and professional demands were pulling in different directions. When two lives move on parallel tracks for long enough, a reckoning arrives. Do we merge, or do we preserve what we are by moving apart? What followed online was immediate and intense. Feeds on every platform became a collage of disbelief and tribute, sadness and solidarity. Comment sections filled with clips from their interviews, slow-motion edits of their behind-the-scenes laughter, photos of shared glances that seemed to promise so much. Some fans wrote about how their chemistry had helped them believe in something pure during difficult times. Others simply sent love, 1,000 small lanterns floating onto the night of two private hearts. You could feel that particular ache that comes when a public story feels personal. And yet through the rushing tide, one sentiment was constant. May they both be well. May they both win in the ways that matter. There are also the professional ripples. Both of them have full plates. Yağmur is on the brink of a new drama series that already reads like a ratings machine, the kind of role that lets her carry a whole world in her eyes. She has been known to lean into scripts that find fragility and courage in the same breath, and this one is said to push that balance even further. Meanwhile, Barış is in the thick of pre-production for a film many have been tracking from rumor to reality, an ambitious project aiming to blend raw character work with the kind of cinematic sweep that makes audiences whisper in lobby corridors. These commitments do not pause. Cameras do not wait for hearts to finish speaking. So the question on every lips becomes, what now? Do they cross paths on set again? Will they stand shoulder to shoulder at future premieres? The honest answer today is that we do not know. What we do know is that both of them are seasoned professionals. They understand the craft and the machine that fuels it. And they know, perhaps better than most, how to deliver their best work even when the offstage story is complicated. In the quiet corners where gossip grows, people will always reach for a cause. Some suggested long stretches apart, the result of different filming schedules, some of it outside the country. Others muttered about the grind of public attention, how love can bruise under the weight of constant lenses and questions. There are whispers about how two careers climbing quickly can start to feel like two trains racing toward different destinations. Still, every credible voice close to them says the same thing. Nothing dramatic, nothing cruel. Just two people listening to the truth of a season changing. Several outlets tried to coax comment from friends and colleagues. Most politely declined. A few offered generic words of care. That silence is not an accident. It is the professional code that protects those difficult moments when everything is tender and decisions require room to breathe. It is also a sign of the respect both Barış and Yağmur command. Castmates who could have spoken chose not to. Teams that might normally feed a narrative kept it tight. The path, it seems, was cleared for the two most affected voices to be heard if and when they wished to speak. For those watching the industry, there is another layer to all of this. Sometimes a breakup becomes a hinge. Artists transform pain into fuel. They stretch into new shapes. They accept roles that scare them or demand that they turn toward a part of themselves long avoided. You have seen it before. A heartbreak becomes the overture to a career renaissance. Will that be true here? We cannot predict. But it is hard not to imagine that both will channel the hum of this moment into something that glows on screen. There is also the reminder that nothing we see through a screen is the whole story. We love how a loving look translates into a weekly episode and then into edits set to forlorn music. But the day-to-day is more complex. Balancing call times that start before dawn and end past midnight. Finding privacy when every sidewalk stroll becomes a headline. Keeping something tender safe when outsiders feel entitled to a front row seat. Even the kindest spectatorship can be heavy, and both Barış and Yağmur have carried it with grace for a long time. For now, their immediate futures are clear enough. Yağmur will dive into her series with the fierce focus that has become her signature. Barış will shape his film performance from the ground up, working through rehearsals that blur the line between preparation and discovery. Their teams will coordinate press so that neither is forced into a corner. Joint appearances will likely be put on ice, not from hostility but from a shared understanding that healing works best without a chorus of flashbulbs. If they find themselves standing on the same carpet one day, it will be because time has done its quiet work and the moment is right. Think of other breakups the entertainment world has endured. Think of the ways those moments recalibrated the people involved. Some took long pauses and returned with a new lightness. Some doubled down on their craft and delivered work that surprised even their staunchest fans. Many learned boundaries, learned to say no, learned that devotion to a character is not the same as neglecting the self. That arc is not a weakness. It is growth. In that way, what happened on January 8th is not an ending so much as a turning of the page toward unwritten chapters. And of course, the theories will not stop. People will propose tidy explanations because tidy explanations are easier to hold. Communication slips. Divergent dreams. Time zones that stretch and snap. The honest truth is that two people can adore each other and still choose different roads because love is not always enough to solve the physics of a life lived in public. The other honest truth is that we do not need every detail to offer respect. One thing is safe to say. The couple so many saw as a model of charming ease and quiet solidarity has reminded us that even gentle stories can have sharp edges. That does not make the past less beautiful. It makes it real. The laughter was still laughter. The spark was still a spark. Whatever now follows, that is part of their history and part of the way fans will remember them, not with bitterness but with gratitude for the moments they gifted us on and off the screen. What comes next for each of them may be surprising. Separate trajectories can open doors that together might have stayed shut. Maybe we will see Yağmur tackle a role that refuses to be lovely and opts instead to be raw. Maybe Barış will accept a script that asks him to be still, to speak with silence, to break our hearts without a single raised voice. Whatever shape their choices take, the audience that has walked with them this far will not vanish. Loyalty built on talent does not evaporate. It evolves. To be clear, no official plan has been publicized for joint work. If a crossover project appears, it will be handled with self-possession and clarity. If it does not, neither of them owes us more than the work they bring to life. That boundary is part of the dignity they have shown throughout this. And if one day they speak at length about why they decided to part, let us hope it is on their terms, in their words, and with the same quiet humanity that framed the announcement. So, January 8, 2026. Remember it not as a scandal but as a moment of truth. The truth that even beloved pairs must sometimes release the story we wrote for them in order to keep faith with the story they are called to write for themselves. It is a sober note in a glittering field, but it is a note worth hearing. Thank you for staying with us through every twist of this update. We have sifted the statements, weighed the rumors, and tried to keep our feet on the ground while the wind of speculation howls. If you are feeling shaken, you are not alone. If you are feeling protective of them both, you are in good company. As we sign off, remember that Whispers of Turkish Stars is here to bring you the most thoughtful coverage of moments like this, without losing sight of the people at the center of the story. Tell us how the news landed for you. Did it startle you? Could you feel it coming? Do you think this will shape the roles they choose next? Take a breath and share. And if our take helped you make sense of the noise, pass it on to someone who is still trying to catch up. Most of all, stay close. The next chapter is already on its way, and when it arrives, we will be right here with you, listening, watching, and telling the story with care.